prepared. Let's get your week rolling just right. We're right week of news and conversation. Now, whether you're catching us online, on TV, or on the radio, hop on, join the chat. I'm Paolo de Rosario.
Hello there, beautiful people. I'm Asis-Carilo. We are simulcast on Melo 94.7 BFM. Here's your daily dose of deep dives and good vibes. Welcome to Beautiful Day.
All right, so we have I feel like a jam-packed week ahead of us, right?
Oh, yes.
Because it was a jam-packed weekend. And so how was your weekend duties, Anne?
I just love all these news items that come out during the weekend. Ang daming pasabog. And we're going to be talking about that later on because Senator Panfilo Lacson has talked about his intention of resigning from his chairmanship post in the Blue Ribbon Committee. So we'll be talking about that later. Ang daming nangyari.
Alam mo, akala mo na makaka-relax tayo over the weekend,
No,
right?
what relax? What relax?
What is that? Ano yung relax? Ako nakatulog ako ng slight eh.
I remember last weekend, Senator Panfilo Lacson also made a statement, another pasabog. That was last weekend. Tapos nitong weekend, like yesterday, he came out with another statement. So parang, Sen Ping, every weekend.
It feels like Senator Lacson doesn't take a break, right?
Yes.
Pati weekends, it is something. But of course, we have a jam-packed show to start things off. We're going to be talking about health, in particular breast cancer awareness, right? So that's a big thing that a lot of people are still concerned about, or a lot of people are raising awareness for, and I think obviously so. And of course, we have a guest later on for Weather HQ. I'm excited for that because we have a group called Space Crop. What does that mean?
Space Crop.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
So it's basically satellite alerts to help farmers, and they use drones and they use all this technology to help cacao farmers protect their crops. So it's so interesting to see how it works out. So I want to find out more about it. And of course, everyone will be here with us.
Because when you say space crop, I was thinking they're planting something that's like something edible. That's,
for space,
yes,
right?
for space.
No.
Remember when we had that
analog astronaut,
space nutritionist?
Yes,
there you go. So I thought that's
nothing
the same thing.
like that. Yeah. But close enough. We're using space to help us.
Yes,
it's
that's
out
right.
of this
So
world.
it's a new technology.
Yeah.
And we got some music towards the end of the show. We got Day Mix, how the son of Potato Corner's founder ended up in Pinoy hip hop. So we'll be talking to Justin Wieneke.
Yes.
I hope I got his last name right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Later on for Day Mix.
Of course, we're also on social media, and we are online in every place imaginable.
Yes.
And where are we?
Facebook and YouTube. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, please. As early as now, go ahead and send us your messages, shout-outs, questions, what have yous. Go ahead and send it our way. We are also live on Melo 94.7 BFM. We're simulcast on Melo 94.7 BFM, and we are also on their Facebook page.
Yes, we are. And you know what? This day is going to be a special day simply because one, it's the start of the week, and two, may actual live audience tayo ng konti. We have like 4 students over here on the side watching us. So this may be the first time ever
That's
na
so
may mga
cool.
nanonood
We've
na
always wanted
hindi
to
part
have a
of-
live audience.
Oo nga, na-pressure ako bigla. Paano kaya yan? But of course, we'll have that. We'll have them. They're going to be here to enjoy the show, and obviously, hopefully, they can learn from us as well. But speaking of learning, let's learn how the traffic is today.
Yes, please. Let's go check out the situation in major roads at this hour. First up, we are taking a look at EDSA Orense in Makati. On the left side of your screens, you're seeing vehicles heading to Pasay City. Light to moderate traffic already building up on that stretch. Opposite lane, everything green and go. Right side of your screens, you're seeing vehicles heading to Shaw Boulevard. Light traffic on that area. Now this time, we are taking a look at EDSA White Plains. Left side of your screens, those are the vehicles heading to Shaw Boulevard. Moderate traffic already building up. I think that's moderate to heavy traffic already building up on that stretch. Opposite lane, right side, those are the vehicles heading to Cubao. Light traffic on that area. Now heads up to motorists. The expanded vehicle number coding scheme is in full swing. It's a Monday, guys. So vehicles with license plates ending in 1 and 2 should be off the road right about now until 10 a.m. and again later from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And mixed fuel price movements are expected this week. The Department of Energy is expecting the price of gasoline to come down by 5 centavos per liter. Meanwhile, diesel is likely to increase by 50 centavos per liter and kerosene to go up by 25 centavos per liter. The DOE says that global development continued to affect fuel costs, with the United States' renewed sanctions on Iran tightening supply, while increased production from OPEC puts a bit of downward pressure. And it's time to check out today's weather forecast with Paolo on Weather HQ. Take it away, Paolo.
Thank you so much, Anne. Let's take a look at the local weather. Now, for today's weather, we are keeping an eye on the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or the ITCZ. Now, this is currently affecting only the southern portion of Mindanao. Now, because of this ITCZ, you can expect cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms over the Zamboanga Peninsula and Barm. Now, for the rest of Mindanao, it will be partly cloudy to cloudy, but do not rule out isolated rain showers or thunderstorms, especially later on in the day. Meanwhile, for Luzon and Visayas, we are looking at a generally fair weather. So it's a great day, it's a great news here for your outdoor plans. But keep in mind, you could still have some localized thunderstorms that could still pop up in the afternoon or in the evening. So always be ready with your umbrella no matter what. Now, taking a look at our sea conditions, good news because there is no gale warning that has been issued anywhere in the country. Now, this means our seas will be generally calm and safe for travel. You can expect light to moderate sea conditions with wave heights ranging from 0.6 to 1.5 meters. Now, perfect weather for fishing and coastal activities, but as always, stay alert for any sudden weather changes. So great weather here today, a bit of an ITCZ over in the south of Mindanao, but for the meantime, that's it for Weather HQ. And back to you.
Thank you so much, Pao. Now on to our headlines this morning. Senate President pro tempore Panfilo Lacson announced he is stepping down as chair of the Blue Ribbon Committee amid growing discontent over his handling of the flood control probe. With investigations still uncertain, Lacson says his fight against corruption will continue despite the shift. Hannah T. reports.
Senate President pro tempore Panfilo Lacson is stepping down as chairman of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. In a statement, Lacson said he decided to step down after some of his colleagues expressed disappointment over how he handled the Blue Ribbon investigation into the flood control project anomalies. He added that if he has already lost the trust of his peers, then he's ready to give way. But he was quick to clarify that his fight against corruption is far from over. The Blue Ribbon Committee is currently investigating the flood control scandal and alleged budget insertions. For now, its next hearing is suspended until further notice. Lacson said the October 8 hearing was cancelled because the documents needed for the investigation, including the alleged tell-all affidavits of contractors Sara and Curly Descaya, were not yet ready. Two high-profile personalities are expected to attend the next hearing: former House Speaker Martin Romualdez and former Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldi Co, who were both invited by Lacson. Lacson also slammed what he called fake news being spread by certain groups claiming he was protecting Co and Romualdez. Senator Amy Marcos earlier expressed confusion over reports that the Blue Ribbon Committee would no longer hold hearings and would instead issue a partial report. Lacson responded by saying that Marcos should simply attend the hearings herself so she wouldn't be misinformed. Later on, Marcos left the All Senators group chat, citing pressures she claimed were happening within the chamber. Lacson replaced Senator Rodante Marcoleta as Blue Ribbon Chair, following the Senate leadership shakeup that also saw Senate President Tito Soto replace Senator Cheese Escudero. Hannah T. Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Well, as expected, this is one of the developments we were looking at over the weekend. And again, more shakeups possibly. And of course, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee having a bit of hiatus, for some might call it, especially since we started calling it Senate Flicks, especially.
And Senate President Tito Soto has said that even if the Blue Ribbon Committee hearings has been or have been suspended, the discussions will continue privately through executive sessions. But now people are talking about Senator Panfilo Lacson stepping down as chair or chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee. We're seeing disappointed netizens, some agreeing to it, some are disappointed. We have statements coming from Congressman Terry Ridon, released a statement about his resignation. And I don't know, what is your take? For me, I'm personally disappointed by the resignation. Kasi everything's going smoothly, di ba? Parang nakita natin yung transition from a different chairman, and then now with Panfilo Lacson heading the Blue Ribbon Committee, there were so many revelations. His investigations were complete, and we saw big names coming out, and now we're seeing a halt to this. Not really a permanent halt, but parang yung momentum masisira.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the things that I think people were awaiting really was whether or not what the developments would have been with Representatives Romualdez and Co.
Yes.
In particular, because that was supposed to be slated in the next hearing, if I'm not mistaken. So, hearing from them at the very least would have been great in the short term. But then right now, we're going to be hoping that this pause is not as long as people would think, and that when it resumes, that it is as productive. It has been, again, being a selfish television viewer and concerned citizen, it was entertaining and really interesting to see how things would work.
Yes.
But now a lot of discussions are happening closed doors. We're not seeing it.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that concerns a lot of people.
That's the reason why, people don't really want the Blue Ribbon hearings to be suspended, because we want to see follow-up, di ba? We want to see action being done. Kasi ang hirap, if we just rely on the ICI, we're not seeing anything. Everything is closed door. They've been having their hearings, di ba? And we don't really know what is going on.
Yeah, speaking of action being done, actually leads me to our next story here, because Senate Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano has proposed a drastic measure for the government to regain the people's trust amid the flood control scandal. Now, over on Facebook, Senator Cayetano suggested every government official from president down to Congress to resign and conduct a snap election. That's with the additional condition that no incumbent would be allowed to run for one election cycle. Now, the Senate Minority Leader states that now more than ever, politicians are seen as suspects. As calls for another people power movement grow louder, Cayetano says that a voluntary surrender of power is the more responsible path forward. He adds that the government has its bureaucracy and LGUs will continue to run and manage things while the process takes place. Again, drastic measures here being suggested by Senator Cayetano. And whether or not it is in the realm of possibility is another question, especially if you're asking almost the entire executive body, most, if not all, of the legislative body to resign.
Wala namang papayag dyan.
Well, walang papayag. If it was going to be a vote, it's probably not happening. But fact of the matter is that while I agree drastic measures are needed, whether the fact that this is not realistic, that it could happen, personally, I don't see it happening, that it would be, right now it's just a proposal that won't really get too far.
For me, you know what? This is all just political noise.
Yes.
And these distractions are not what is needed at the moment.
But to be fair, though, a lot of netizens would say yes. A lot of people would want a restart, right? But whether or not it's possible, is really. It's really the thing that makes it different, right?
You know what? I feel like all these distractions, takes away the focus on what should be focused on talaga, which is the big case of corruption, this massive case of corruption that we are facing at the moment, diba? So I feel like, whoever are the powerful figures behind these corruption cases, which is not just the flood control projects. We're seeing alleged corruption in infrastructure, other departments of the government. I feel like the powerful figures that are behind that, this is exactly what they want. All this political noise noise, all these distractions, leaders who are courageous enough to name big names, they want them silenced. Diba? Parang this is exactly what they want. And I feel like dapat nga all the more that they should hold on to their positions and continue the investigations, diba?
Well, there are lots of ways to look at it, and that's definitely one way to do so. But of course, you mentioned powerful figures. Actually, a powerful figure did mention something in your next story.
Yes, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. stressed the importance of following due process in the government's investigation into the flood control scandal. While he acknowledged that many of the individuals under investigation are far from innocent, he said the administration needs airtight evidence for the filing of cases in court. Marcos emphasized that rushing the case could lead to weak charges, which would be worse for justice. He also emphasized that the administration is committed to going after the guilty, but only through well-substantiated means.
We have to follow the law. Otherwise, whatever we do is not legitimate. And we have to be very, very clear that we go after the guilty ones.
Now moving on, the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, or the PCSO, alongside other government agencies, have sent a large aid caravan to Cebu. Following the magnitude 6.9 earthquake that struck the region last week, composed of 5 dump trucks, 3 buses, and 11 ambulances carrying water, food, and essential supplies for those affected, PCSO Chief of Staff Jeremy Regino says the caravan carries enough supplies to help 25,000 families. Latest reports from the NDRRMC have placed the current casualty count from the quake at 71 dead, 559 injured, and almost 130,000 families affected.
Now in world news, Pope Leo XIV prayed for the Philippines in his Sunday address at the St. Peter's Square in Vatican. The pontiff expressed closeness to the Philippines, especially to the victims of the 6.9 magnitude earthquake in Cebu. He said, and I quote, "In a special way, I pray for all those who were challenged by the consequences of this earthquake." Pope Leo also wrote a similar message on X. He urged for prayers for the earthquake victims and called for unity and trust in God in the face of danger.
Now moving on to sports. In sports, Mercedes driver George Russell rode from pole position to glory on Sunday, outlasting Dutchman Max Verstappen to win the Singapore Grand Prix. Russell, a 27-year-old Brit, recorded his second victory of the season and 5th of his career. Russell finished 5.43 seconds ahead of Red Bull's Verstappen, who was denied in his quest for 3 consecutive victories after winning both the Italian Grand Prix and the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Verstappen, however, fended off McLaren teammates Britain's Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri of Australia, who were 3rd and 4th respectively. The result allowed Norris to trim Piastri's Drivers' Championship lead to 22 points with 6 races to go, and it also secured a 2nd consecutive Constructors' Championship for McLaren. Moving on to local sports, Zelig Tenorio gets his PBA head coaching era off to a winning start after downing his former team, Barangay Ginebra San Miguel, 80-73 on the PBA's opening day on Sunday at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. The Maloya Hotshots got off to a strong start and blitzed Ginebra with a 17-3 burst after tip-off. Ginebra managed to close the gap, but the steady play of Xavier Lucero, Jerome Lastimosa, and Javi Gomez de Liano kept the Gin Kings away. The trio of Lucero, Lastimosa, and Gomez de Liano combined for 45 markers, while Stephen Holt led Barangay Ginebra with 16 in a losing effort.
Now here's our first cup of tea. Cup of Joe is back on Spotify Philippines' #1 spot. The Baguio-based rock band's Multo returns to #1 on Spotify PH with 873,000 streams. It is currently the longest-running #1 of all time at 181 days. The band's hit song was written during the pandemic and explores grief, emotional haunting, and self-reflection, and is appropriately one of Billboard Philippines' 8 anthems for those not ready to move on.
Move on.
Remember that joke I said about Multo multo being number one. Sabi ko, perfect yan kasi ghost
month.
Hindi lang ghost month.
Dati.
Ghost flood control projects pa,
totoo.
di ba? Yes, everything ghost. Yan, kasi ngayon lumalabas
Akala
yan
ko kasi Halloween kasi in the month, diba?
Pwede
Kaya
rin,
multo,
diba?
diba?
Maybe
But
that's why we're seeing all these ghost projects coming out kasi ghost month una tapos mag-Halloween.
oh, it's so nice to see. I love this. I wouldn't say it's a golden age of OPM. A lot of people would say that, hey, you know what, we had our Manila Sound Days and all of that. Pero I am enjoying the variety we're seeing from OPM right now. And I understand why some people call it the golden age of OPM, especially with, groups like Cup of Joe coming up with such great music. Multo, fantastic song. So yeah, I mean, hey, more power to the guys, and hopefully we can have you on the show.
And that's
Please.
exactly why we have Day Mix, right? This is
Yes.
going to be a platform for all these OPM artists to guest on the show, promote their music, right? And
Yeah.
help them.
Help us help you. Help us.
Yes. So to Cup of Joe, the management of Cup of Joe, and all the OPM artists
We're
out
ready
there,
for you.
Feel free to drop by the show, perform here, and let's have a sit down.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah. So second cup of tea for this morning. Are the girls fighting? Fans sense a brewing feud between pop music synonymous Taylor Swift and pop star Charlie XCX. This comes after one of Taylor's newly released songs from the album The Life of a Showgirl is rumored to be a diss track for Charlie. The song, Actually Romantic, refers to another singer who calls Swift a boring Barbie, which fans think is about Charlie. Charlie has a song called Everything is Romantic in her critically acclaimed album Brat. Charlie most recently posted a 5-second clip from her music studio, which got fans wondering what she's possibly cooking. Other users are convinced it hints at a beef at par with Kendrick Lamar and Drake, but for the girlies of pop.
I don't know.
Not these girlies feuding. They should just make music together.
No, well, if they make music against each other and then they get along and come together, that'll be great. I'm a big fan of Charlie XCX.
But wait a
I'm a big fan of
minute.
Taylor,
Taylor
so yeah.
Swift is not a boring Barbie.
Yes, no, she's not.
Yeah,
No,
she
no,
isn't.
no, no,
She's
no.
a Barbie, but
She's
not a
fun.
boring Barbie.
Yeah, and to be honest, they're both pleasant personalities. I mean,
Yes.
especially they can make fun of themselves. I've seen them both on SNL doing their own things, and it's just nice to see that they have a nice sense of humor. And let's see how this grows. Because honestly, if we're going to have music beef at the level of Drake and Kendrick, that's gonna be really fun.
Interesting to watch.
Yeah, that'll be
yes.
interesting to watch. I mean, like, it's just because of the amount of music released,
But
right?
ladies, just make music together. Wouldn't that be nice? Like a hit, Charlie XCX and Taylor Swift. That's an interesting collab.
We'll see.
feel.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, people forget that Drake and Kendrick actually have collabs together.
Yeah,
right?
see
So,
nga.
yeah.
They should go down that path na rin. So that's our tea for this morning. And up next, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're going to find out more about this deadly disease that affects women as young as 30. That story on Health Matters with Dr. Emmeline Cua-De Los Santos after the break. Beautiful day. We'll be right back. Hi there, welcome back. You're still tuned in to Beautiful Day. Breast cancer is the deadliest cancer among women in the Philippines. Women as young as 30 years old can face the dangers of the disease. This Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we find out the early signs, prevention, and treatment on Health Matters. And we are joined today by Breast Surgical Oncologist Dr. Emmeline Cua-De Los Santos. Beautiful day, Doc Emmeline. Hello, welcome to the show, and good evening to you there in Chicago.
It's a beautiful day indeed, Paolo and Anne.
Now, to help our listeners and our viewers understand what exactly is breast cancer and how does it develop?
Actually, breast cancer is the most common cancer among women internationally. And in the Philippines, it's actually 1 out of 13 women develop breast cancer. So this is like accumulation of cancer cells. These cells were triggered by the body to develop and spread in the body.
Not to scare anyone because that number is scary. When you say 1 out of 13
Yep.
women here in the Philippines do develop breast cancer, syempre, one of the ways to really address it is to identify it early, detect it early. When we talk about early signs of breast cancer and, of course, ways to actually test early, what would you suggest? What should you look out for?
So actually, right now, we know a lot about it. So first, we check out if you have risk factors. So it's nice to have yourself checked to know if you have risk factors like age, some family history, and some genetics with regards to breast cancer. And some of the breast cancer developed through lifestyle. So such as being overweight, lack of exercise, alcohol consumption, actually. So having these risk factors doesn't mean you'll definitely get breast cancer, no. So it just means that it increases your chance. So what you can do is actually be familiar with your own breasts. So that's why we really advocate to do self breast exam. So sometimes patients say, I don't know how to do it. So you can go to a doctor to help you do it, and then you do it every month talaga. So it's gonna be 7 to 10 days from first day of menses. Just be familiar. You're not looking for anything. I always tell my patients that you're not looking for anything. If you don't feel anything, that's good. But at least you're familiar. When you feel any changes, you know that it's time to look to consult a doctor again.
Parang loaded yung you're not looking for anything, doc, eh. Is it because when some people do test themselves, they tend to siguro be hypersensitive to, baka meron to, baka ano to. Is that something that you see in your patients?
Yes, actually, most of the patients there, sasabihin nila, I'm afraid to actually do my self-breast exam because I might feel something. So that's why we really tell them, reassure them that you really have to do it because 80% of it's actually the patients themselves who found the lump and the breast cancer.
Doc, I read recently that here in the Philippines, about 65% of cases are diagnosed in advanced stages already. Can you explain what that means, what advanced stage implies in terms of prognosis and treatment?
Yes. Yeah, so here in the Philippines, we always see advanced cases of breast cancer, maybe because of some cultural factors that the patients are afraid to, have themselves checked. So we really encourage our patients to do screening at the age of 40 if you're average risk. And if you're high risk, you have high personal risk, you do it earlier, as early as 25 to 30 years old. So these are ways we can catch cancer early, because when we catch cancer early, they're highly curable these days. It's not like before. It's not a death sentence anymore.
When you talk about high risk, Doc, how could you determine if you are at high risk or moderate risk or even low?
So actually, we have a computation for it. It takes account risk factors like your age, your menopause status, the density of your breast, your family history, if you have relatives with breast or ovarian cancer. So these things, we compute it and then we'll share it to you. So it's really best to see a breast surgeon to help you know your risk.
Alam mo, Doc, kasi sometimes women feel na natatakot silang magpa-breast exam. Unang-una kasi, people say na masakit daw yung mammogram, and some people also say na minsan mas gusto pa nilang wag nilang alamin, 'di ba? Kesa yung malaman nila and then they live their lives knowing that they have breast cancer. Let's talk about these misconceptions and also the tests that they need to take aside from the manual tests. Meron din ultrasound, right? Breast ultrasound, and then there's the mammogram itself. Can we talk about that?
Yes, so I always tell my patients, don't be afraid to get your mammogram because the mammogram is just 6 seconds. That will really see. So right now, internationally, the gold standard really is to do a mammogram. It will really give us a lot of information about the status of your breast. So if you have this dense breast, meaning it's usually common sa Asian, no, maraming fibers yung breast po ninyo. So there are areas that will be hard to find. So that's why we need an additional ultrasound. So ultrasound works together with mammogram to give an accurate screening. It's around 95% accuracy. So that's actually how it works.
Okay, so we're actually also flashing some slides here coming from the PSBS, wherein we're showing myths versus facts here, and we're looking at different myths here, including one I want to bring up later with regard to male breast cancer. But let's talk about first some of the myths that needed to be debunked, because some of them are really interesting, like the wearing of a bra. That could actually cause, allegedly, proven not, rather, that it could cause breast cancer. That herbal medicines are a right way to go about it. Another one is that some people are debating are also yung mga hormonal contraceptives. Can they cause cancer? When you talk about all of these misconceptions and things that could be solved with education, what do you think are the biggest problems that, or at least the biggest misconceptions that need to be addressed right now?
So right now, what we need to address really is that mammogram do not cause breast cancer. So definitely with a mammogram, you're gonna screen early, you're gonna catch them early. So some patients feel na dahil nag-mammogram ako, kaya ako nagka-breast cancer kasi doon nalaman, di ba? So it's not that. Secondly, the bra. So some patients think, because I'm wearing wired bra, that's why I got breast cancer. So it's not true, no? It's just that sometimes when patients wear wired bra, minsan, di ba, it's gonna cause some pain, and then they're gonna examine it, then they find a lump. But bra itself is not associated with breast cancer.
At yung deodorant din. It's just there.
It's just hanggang sa skin lang yun. Hindi po yun na-absorb. It doesn't cause the breast cancer. That's very, very common sa patients. They also ask about it.
So it's not an excuse na hindi mag-deodorant. I think that's one of the things that we have to bring up. But okay, so we saw it a while ago. Sorry, Anna. But then male breast cancer is also a thing. Not as common compared to the women. But then when you have an issue with that, like how do you normally address the male?
Actually, male breast cancer is not common. So it's very low, no? Around mga 2% yung chance nun. But it happens. And most of the time, when we have male breast cancer, it's really genetic. So just ang genetic na breast cancer caused by the genes is only in 5 to 10% of all breast cancer. So to 90 to 95%, we don't really have an explanation for it. But in male breast cancer, it's commonly genetically predisposed. So you have gene, there are a lot of genes that link to breast cancer. Usually it's called the BRCA, breast cancer 1 and 2 genes that's related. And usually the patients are tested for that because that's the most common one. So male breast cancer, how we manage it is the same actually as how we manage a female breast cancer.
Doc, so if it runs in the family, do the men need to have regular tests as well, regular screenings as well? At what age?
Sorry, can men manually check also?
Yes, men can manually check also, but you can see naman almost all females yung breast cancer patients.
Yes.
So if the incidence is very low, we're not really naman advocating na all men monthly mag self breast exam. But if you have some genetic predisposition, so it's nice to a cancer geneticist about it. Maybe you can do some proactive things like doing genetic testing. It's just a blood test, so you can check it if you have that gene.
Doc, let's go back to the misconceptions. A while ago, we asked, does taking hormonal contraceptive cause breast cancer?
So it has some links. It doesn't have like a direct link that once you take the hormone therapy, you'll develop breast cancer. But studies throughout the decades, have shown that it increases the risk.
All right, so when we talk about causes of breast cancer, you mentioned it a while ago that having a healthy disposition in general when it comes to their health, their fitness, their nutrition, that does help prevent all of that. But when we talk about the actual proven causes of breast cancer, not the myths, all right? So what could you say are those causes that we can address?
until this day, we actually do not know the cause of breast cancer. So 90 to 95%, we really don't know. So we all have all these risk factors, no, the genetics, the overweight, lack of exercise. So these are what we see the risk factors, but it's not directly causing the breast cancer. So hopefully in the future, we'll know about it.
I remember my OB telling me that once you hit 40, once a female hits 40, kailangan yearly na doc yung breast exams or breast screenings. But we're seeing reports that as early as 30 years old, yung iba nga younger, di ba, nadedetect na merong breast cancer. So what do you think is the earliest age when to start having screenings, having tests?
So we recommend by the age of 20 to 40 years old, you actually do your monthly self-breast exam, and then you can go to a clinician and have a clinical breast exam every 1 to 3 years. Then with your interaction with your clinician, you can discuss about your personal risk for breast cancer, and then your clinician will advise you if already at that point na 30 or 35, you need to do a breast MRI and a mammogram. But normally, if like you're just average risk, no family history, and your clinician computed for you that you're just a regular risk, average risk individual, then you can start your mammogram at the age of 40. But of course, see your clinician every 1 to 3 years. And at age of 40, yearly talaga yung mammogram. So we recommend to continue it until around 75 years old.
Doc, let's talk about life after the diagnosis. Once a screening or the imaging shows a suspicious lesion, what's going to happen next? What are the main treatments that are available for women?
So actually, we know a lot about breast cancer now compared to before. So the treatment actually depends on the stage and also the type of breast cancer you have. So usually it includes surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, hormonal therapy, targeted therapy, and sometimes immunotherapy. No, that's the new thing that we see. So each patient receives a different treatment because each plan is personalized and discussed by a multidisciplinary team. So usually, the patients get confused. Why do I have so many doctors? So usually it's a team. So oncologist, there's also a medical oncologist, and there's also a radiation oncologist who actually helps you through the process. Yeah. So you can discuss all the options with them, and then of course we give you all the options, and then you have all the autonomy to decide for yourself what you want and how you want to be treated.
Well, it does take a village to do something great. And but Doc, I mean, we talked about the many ways that we can avoid it. We talked about some of the myths. How about those who've undergone cosmetic surgery, those who've had implants there? How does that affect, one, yung ability nila to self-check? And two, any treatment in general, especially if there are implants in the way?
So actually, most of the implants here in the Philippines are actually linalagay po siya sa likod po of the breast. So when you check the breast, it's your breast tissues. So you still can be able to do your self-breast exam. Kasi the implant is behind it naman. So it's pretty much accurate.
I wanted to go back, Doc, on what you said earlier, that it takes a team of doctors, diba, for when we're talking about treatment. And I guess that is one of the challenges that breast cancer patients face in completing yung treatment, diba? Yung cost, diba? It gets really, really expensive. We have to admit that. What are the treatments that are available if, for example, hindi mo afford yung treatment, right? Is this covered by PhilHealth?
Yeah, so actually, and what is nice is that all this international treatment are available in our country. We're not behind. So really, it's more of health financing that's the issue. You're correct that a lot of patients, it's very expensive for a lot of patients to be able to afford all these medications, and of course the additional facility fees for this. So we're that our government actually gives some support. So through the PhilHealth Z package benefit, it's really available. So you just go to any of the government hospitals, it's available. So you can get everything for free, from the surgery, to the chemo, to the radiation, to the targeted treatment. That's actually very expensive, and it's all for free. So don't be afraid. Just reach out to your nearest government hospital, to your nearest cancer. Yeah.
Well, of course, we always, I believe every October, we always celebrate the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, before we start wrapping things up here, Doc, when we talk about breast cancer awareness, it's always great to have people know about it, and of course, it feels like. Do you feel it's underreported, Doc? Breast cancer cases here in the Philippines?
Probably, yeah. Because we still don't have a very good national electronic medical record system. And of course, some of our breast cancer patients, because of our culture, sometimes after once you divulge the diagnosis to them, sometimes they just won't follow up or just gonna turn to some herbal medication. So that's very common. So we really do our best to fight all this misinformation and reassure a patient that there is life after breast cancer, and it's very curable.
And that's why we had you over here, Doc.
Yes,
right?
actually, I have. Before we throw our last question, Doc, I just want to make up a habol question. What advice would you give, to family members or husbands, partners of breast cancer patients, breast cancer survivors, to best support them emotionally and practically as well?
All right. First, of course, is to have faith. Get a good team of doctors you're comfortable with to make sure you really do understand what's happening to you, what your treatment plan is. And don't be afraid or don't be shy to ask questions, kasi sometimes in our culture nahiya sila, di ba? Don't be shy. You have to empower yourself. You have to understand what's going to happen to you. And of course, you have a choice on how your treatment will be for breast cancer.
That's a great message there. And of course, Anne, we can't let her go without this one last question.
Our show is called Beautiful Day. So, Doc, what makes your day beautiful?
Of course, having all of you supporting breast cancer awareness in the Philippines.
Thank you so much.
Very on brand and on point. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you for joining us, surgical oncologist Dr. Emmeline Cua-De Los Santos. Thank you, Doc.
Oh,
Thank you for having me.
I love that. Thank you so much, Doc. You know what? I really love talking to Doc about it, especially when we talk about yung awareness of breast cancer and, of course, yung mga misconceptions. I personally learned a lot. I felt like I knew a lot about it because we talk about it so much every year, right? But then it feels like every time we talk to a doctor about the issue, na-refresh tayo and we learn more.
Yeah. Pero alam mo, totoo yun a lot of women are afraid of getting breast exams, breast screenings. Kasi parang people are thinking, okay na hindi ko alam. Kasi yung malaman ko and I live with that fear, and then you know that it's expensive. But it's nice to know, through Doc also she explained that PhilHealth covers it and the government can help you.
Yeah,
diba?
through the Z plan. And of course, ako, it's nice to know that totoo pala yung male breast cancer.
Totoo.
Right. But it's not very nice to know, but it's good to be aware of it.
It's very rare,
Yes.
but it does happen.
Yeah.
So if it runs in your family, then get tested.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, when we come back, we have more stories. When we return, we'll learn how satellite technology is helping Davao's cacao farmers spot problems early and protect their harvest.
Plus, our horoscope of the day with Master Hans Kua. So stay with us. Beautiful day. We'll be right back.
Hello, welcome back. Still watching Beautiful Day. This is Weather HQ. Now, in Davao City, cacao farmers are getting a tech upgrade. A new system using satellites, sensors, and drones now sends early warnings about plant stress, helping farmers protect their crops from disease and drought. Now, to tell us more about this innovation, we're joined by Mary Grace Gasco, the founder and CEO of Space Crop, the startup behind this satellite-powered alert system. Welcome to Beautiful Day, Ms. Mary Grace. Maraming salamat. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me over here.
All right, so Ms. Mary Grace, let's start off first with this whole concept, because when I heard the term, the name Space Crop, I automatically thought Star Wars, Star Trek, and food. Now, something like that. But how does this particular project aim to help Filipino farmers, especially with such a high-tech solution?
Yeah, so I grew up in an agroforestry community in Mindanao, in southern Philippines, and I took geography at the University of the Philippines, Suliban. So that's where my space science and technology applications actually started. So I went to Hungary to study for my master's in environmental sciences, and then eventually I got exposure to different incubation programs in Europe. So that actually how Space Crop started eventually. So we developed a smart irrigation early warning system for farmers in Europe for drought monitoring risks since 2022. And then last year, we received an innovation award from Circa to pilot our technology in Southeast Asia. So we selected cacao in the Philippines because we did a lot of literature reviews or research on what could be the best high-value crop that we could pilot on for our technology. And we discovered that cacao has so many challenges at the moment globally when it comes to production level due to decreased production and also increasing demand. And so every year, the prices of cacao raw beans is actually skyrocketing in the market. So we thought that maybe we could do a pilot in cacao in the Davao region to help them to discover what challenges do they have, and also to develop more use cases for our technology.
Well, the fact that you're helping make sure that cacao is more available, I say thank you for all the chocolate lovers out there. But for the first ones hearing about this, of course, this is already a proven technology. You mentioned it's been used in Europe. How does this system actually work? Let's put it in layman's terms para hindi matakot yung mga potential adopters.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, our technology is very simple. We use satellite data. As you might already heard about satellites, that is roaming around the Earth's surface. So we collect data from satellites remotely, anytime, anywhere. And then we model the data. So using the satellites, the satellites has sensors. So whenever it goes around the Earth, it captures images, from the surface of the land, for example, like fields or farms. Then we will be able to actually identify if the farm is under stress or if the vegetation is under stress or not. So it goes in the same way with, if we collect data, say, from a specific farm in Davao, a cacao farm in Davao, and then satellite data can capture it. So we download the images, we build an algorithm or model out of it, and then from the model we can predict whether what would be the future risks that could happen in the field. Whether it is, for example, in the case of disease risk. So we can identify potential threats in the future together with weather data, and also we validate this also using soil sensors that we have developed, which measures different say parameters such as nitrogen, potassium, sodium. I'm sure that farmers are not unaware of these parameters because they've been doing farming for decades already.
Yeah.
And the farmers that we have been talking to in the field in Mindanao and also in Cebu are very familiar with how their soil actually works by just looking at their the eye. They know already what's going on. But what's the problem is that they do not really know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And that's where spacecraft comes in as an added value to their farming activities.
You mentioned the sensors. We also mentioned the satellites. So there's also on-the-ground efforts. But we've seen in the footage, drones are also actually used.
Yes.
What are they used for in particular? How do they work together in terms of your gathering of data?
So we use satellite data to monitor at the canopy level of the cacao trees. Meaning we see with satellites, we can see everything from above, okay? With drones, we use it for high-level monitoring, meaning at the fruit crop level, kasi the way as you can see in the photos, cacao trees are actually more of like a forest tree, okay? So, and the way most farmers would plant cacao tree is actually intercrop with other, say, trees such as coconut, durian, or even bananas, right? So, meaning, since they are intercrop, so sometimes there is intercanopy level. Satellite is actually good for that at the above. But we need something more of like a high resolution monitoring, which we need to capture at the fruit level. And yung fruits naman is actually below the canopy. So that's where we use the drones for, okay, to detect potential risks of diseases or even diseases at the fruit level area. But then at the soil level, we also deployed our own soil sensors, which captures different soil parameters as I mentioned.
Actually,
So
sorry, Mary Grace, because there's a lot of data there, and I'm now very curious about what the farmers receive on their phones. Because if I'm not mistaken, the alerts are sent to their phones. Siguro kung maraming data yon, baka mahirapan sila. So what type of messages do they receive, and how does this actually help them do preventive action to prevent crop losses?
We are still developing that part because in the first phase of our project, we focus more on data collection. So, the project started last year. So that was the first phase, and we just recently completed that. And we're moving forward with the second phase, which is focus on heavy modeling and then integration of the system. So the alert system will come in via SMS. And what we plan to do is that we send an alert via SMS to the farmer, telling them about the weather situation on that day, what are the situation of their soil based on the sensors that we have deployed, and also the data that coming from the sensors that we have received, and also what would be the potential risk based on those data coming from from weather. And also from the soil sensors, which we are validating with drones and satellites.
Have we seen progress already in terms of, not necessarily their yield, but then in the way that your pilot farms have approached their planting process, or maybe in terms of preventing any diseases that might have been spotted by your system already?
We are still in that process of understanding better, how our system or technology actually really works in the field with farmers. Because, this technology, we are developing a new technology here, meaning there could be a lot of, say, anticipated, say, challenges that we did not actually know from the beginning. So which means it's very important to establish really good coordination with the farmers, because the farmers are the ones observing and validating the information that we are forwarding to them on the field. And secondly, we also integrate with the farmers' knowledge and experiences in the farm, because remember, they have their own practices
Yeah.
that they have been doing already for decades.
Mas
And they have
traditional.
to-
And Mary Grace, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I hate to cut you off here because we're running out of time. But then before we let you go, I have this one final question because obviously it's very important to be able to use technology, leverage technology, especially with the Filipino farmer having a traditional way of doing things. But we are in a changing world. There's climate change happening.
Yeah.
It's affecting the way that we do things. So just really quickly, when we talk about technology and how it can actually help farmers, how important is it that we are not afraid to adopt technology like this, something that we're not too familiar with, to be able to protect the Filipino farmer and, of course, potentially increase their own yields?
I would say whatever technology is out there, we should, especially on the emergence of AI and all these satellites that we're actually seeing right now. It's really good. It's a good opportunity to be able to make use of them because they are accessible already nowadays. And it's also very important that we communicate very well these technologies in terms of how they are being used in the field with farmers. So that's where training or workshops or education comes in from the technology solution provider as a responsibility so that the farmers would be able to adopt it properly. And so not only with the farmers, but also it's important to include other stakeholders in the farming community as well, such as institutional agencies, farming cooperatives, and even like the other stakeholders in the agricultural value chain. Because remember, this technology, this is only just a technology. What's the most important thing is that we are bringing in together all members of the community so that we would be able to understand and improve better the solution for the farmers and for the entire community itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Miss Mary Grace Gasco of Space Crop. Thank you so much for your innovation. And I feel like in your honor, it is just right na kumain ako ng chocolate mamaya na galing Davao. Maraming salamat po.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day, everyone.
I hope that got you hungry. That's it for Weather HQ. We'll be right back. But at the moment, and back to you.
Thank you, Pao. Now, is today going to be a lucky day for us or not? Let's go find out from our resident energizer and feng shui master, Hans Kua, in our horoscope of the day. Take it away, Master Hans.
Good morning! Beautiful day with me, Bilyonaryo Master Hans Kua. Ito po ang horoscope ng araw ng Lunes, Monday, October 6. Simulan natin sa mga pinanganak ng Year of the Rat. May babaguhin sa routine ng opisina, makibagay kaagad para hindi ka maiwanan. White at 6. Oksaman tayo, hindi masama magbigay, pero alamin mo rin kung ikaw lang ang kumikilos para sa relasyon. Blue at 1. Tiger naman tayo, may proposal na kailangan mong tapusin at ipadala. Yellow at 5. Rabbit naman, magpaaraw sa umaga, makakatulong yan pang-enhance ng good mood at good energy. Green at 2. Sa mga pinanganak ng Year of the Dragon, kung gusto mo pa siya, ipakita mo. Hindi sapat ang pagiging tahimik. Red at 9. Sa mga Year of the Snake naman, kumain ng prutas bilang merienda imbes ng mga chips. Gold at 4. Ito naman, King of the Horsey, maaaring maipasa sa'yo ang trabaho ng iba. Konting tiis lang. Blue at 3. Oh, sa mga Year of the Ship naman, pwede kang mag-sideline online gamitin ang galing mo. White at 8. Kay Monkey naman tayo, maging malinaw kung seryoso ka na ba. Baka umasa siya o higit pa. Green at 7. Year of the Rooster naman, mag-warm compress kung masakit ang batok. Yellow at 1. Kay Dog naman tayo, kung seryoso ka, panindigan mo yan. Huwag paasa. Red at 5. Sa mga Year of the Pig naman, may maliit na kita na magiging simula sa mas malaking plano. Gold at 9. Paalala lang, ito po'y patnubay lamang. Ang tunay na swerte ay nagsisimula sa pagiging totoo. Abangan araw-araw ang horoscope of the day dito lang po sa Beautiful Day with me, Master Hans Kua.
Thank you, as always. birthday is Master Hans Kua. Extra energy si Master Hans today. And to those who are Year of the Dog, wag daw kayong paasa, sabi ni Master Hans.
Grabe. O mga paasa talaga, no? We don't,
Ang mga
we don't like those people. Or yung mga dragon, diba? Ano sabi daw? If kung gusto mo, like let them know or something to that effect. Oh, pero for the horses, like my fellow horses out there, right? Apparently may extra work tayo coming up. At totoo yan.
You actually like extra work.
No, not. Pwede na. Basta, yeah, I mean, like, actually, I'll be on the Daily Dish soon.
Yeah, so that's extra work for you.
Oo nga there for our former friend, si Monique Tucson, who will be off doing whatever she wants to do. Right? So, whatever. But then we have friends, actual friends online.
That's right. We have John Victor on Facebook who says, good morning, watching on YouTube, Blast TV, and Mellow 94.7 BFM. Yeah, John Victor is just everywhere.
Everywhere.
We have people joining us on YouTube. Michael Angelo Buddy Tew says, good morning, Miss Anne and Prof. Pao. What is your skincare routine?
Sino? Ikaw ako?
Ikaw daw.
Ako?
Prof. Pao.
Wow. Good vibes. No.
Good vibes?
Good
Skincare
vibes.
routine?
In
Pwede
the
rin.
routine. Oo.
Yeah.
Just be happy.
Exactly,
And then,
because if you have that positive
it shows.
energy, it shows on your skin.
Being happy shows. At halata
That's
ba
true.
happy ako?
Mukha naman.
So,
Cheke counting down the days till Christmas again. Thank you for doing that with us, Cheke. Later we'll have our official Christmas countdown.
Yes.
And also giving his opinion on the news items that we were talking about earlier. So, there.
yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people obviously have their opinions and their thoughts, and, we welcome them and we encourage more and more people to take part of the democratic process. Yes, seryoso po tayo dito.
Michael Angelo Buddy Tew says, happy 500K on YouTube BNC. So, we've already reached 500K followers.
That's news from
Yes.
from him. Thank
From
you so
our
much.
follower on YouTube. Thank you so
thank
much.
you so much. I really appreciate that.
And
And thank you
our-
so much for subscribing and following.
Our comment section is still open, so we have another guest coming up. If you have questions for our guests, go ahead and throw it our way. If you have more shout-outs, more messages, feel free to send that on our comment section on YouTube and on Facebook. And we are also on the Facebook of Mellow 94.7 BFM.
We went to space in our last conversation, so Weather HQ, but our next guest is also out of this world. Ayos swing segue. All right, so after the break, we sit down with music label owner Justin Wieneke to talk music and what it takes to redefine Pinoy hip-hop from the ground up. Stay tuned. Beautiful Day will be right back. Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Beautiful Day. Now, when your dad is one of the co-founders of Potato Corner, you're pretty much bound to take over the family business, but not today's guest. He's the CEO and co-founder of Cheke, a fresh new label pushing the boundaries of Pinoy hip-hop, and he's all about mixing business smarts with artistic heart. Now, what inspired Justin Wieneke to carve his own corner in music? He'll answer that on Daymix. Beautiful day, Justin. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're doing good.
Of course, thanks for having me. I actually barely have any sleep, but I just made sure to
It's
Well,
so
thank you
come
for
on,
the
come to
effort.
the studio.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so funny because I don't think we've ever had a musician on the show with any sleep.
That's so true.
It's such a music thing. I don't know.
Ever since we started Day Mix, I think all of our guests
Uh-oh.
have not had enough sleep.
They hate us. But But all of that aside, Justin, first of all, thank you so much for waking up and being here. Let's start off first with the obvious questions, which is that, you are part of a family that has brought a lot of calories to us in Potato Corner. Now, that's a
love
good
Potato
thing, by the way,
Corner.
because we love our Potato Corner. And coming from a family of entrepreneurs, you kind of went another way. How has that process been like for you? What were the words said within your family? And of course, what made you decide to take this route?
I guess one of the biggest challenges, being in a family business setup is not actually knowing how to run a business. So that's one of the things that I had to deal with, straight out of college. I jumped into the family business, and, the first few months of work, parang wala akong I didn't have any frameworks.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know how to work per se. Like, you jump into the business and then you're like, oh, what do I do? But at the end of the day, syempre, sa team or sa employees or sa staff, at the end of the day, you're just a child of the owner. So you really have to be able to know how to run a business. So that's why I chose a different path, and I chose to learn that outside the family business.
Did you feel that it was more given and not earned at that point?
Yes, definitely. That's one of the biggest challenges, I would say, being a son of the owner,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
COO,
yeah.
kumbaga.
Yeah.
But now you're running your own business. You've built your own label. But before that, you studied entrepreneurship. You've dabbled a bit into food and beverage. You've done film and music videos. You worked at Careless Music, yeah, with artists like James Reid. And now you have your label Cheke. As that shift was continuously happening, what click made you say, okay, I'm ready to shift from creator brain to operator brain and build my own label?
I just wanted to make something of my own.
Yeah.
Being an employee or being someone employed in their own or in a different company, you don't really get to call the shots. You don't really choose who you want to work with. So I just wanted to be able to create something, sort of like see a bigger picture, and create something and mold something in my own image.
Sorry, go ahead.
But why Cheke and why Philippine hip hop in particular?
Cheke in general, because I just really like hip hop. I really like R&B, and it's basically the genre I grew up listening to.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean that's basically it. Yeah.
How about the name Cheke? Where did that come from for you?
Cheke was obviously, we wanted to have a name that's very Filipino in a sense. We had different names, but at the end of the day, as partners, because I have 5 other partners, we really wanted to be able to choose a name that really resonates with our key partners in the label, which is the artists. Because a lot of my partners are the artists themselves.
Yeah. And everyone likes getting a Cheke.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say too. Like everybody wants to get their Cheke.
Yeah.
Diba?
Well, so when we look at the fact that this label, I believe it's not even a year old. It's very young, around 8-9 months, give or take.
Yeah.
And when you started this direction, I'm sure there must have been conversations within family. Or did you get any encouragement, any pushback? How were the conversations like when it came to striking out on your own in this particular venture?
Fortunately naman, there wasn't any pushback because my mom does work in the creative industry. She's been working in advertising her whole life.
Yeah.
So I kind of got that side of her from my mom. I've been working in the creative industry for about 5 years now. I'm sure at this point, earlier at that point, there would have been something said about being in the creative industry na walang pera dyan, ganun.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's really about what makes you feel accomplished, and I feel that in the creative industry. So I guess there's no pushback there at all. Yeah.
Cheke was born around the rapper Costa Cashman, right? Who are the other artists in your roster, and what can you say about these particular artists?
So we have Costa Cashman of O-Side Mafia. So O-Side Mafia is one of the biggest rap groups in the Philippines right now. And then we also have Fern, Kylo, who's a 17-year-old producer, singer, and rapper. And then we have Tugsta, 2IC, Matt White. These artists per se, the reason why they're in Cheke, because they have very unique sounds, very unique personas. and they're very talented artists in their own right. They have their own distinct sounds and distinct styles. So the reason why we choose or how we choose artists is really dependent on the sound they have. So none of our artists have the same sound per se. So
When you talk about hip hop in general, not just in the Philippines, I'm sure it could be a bit territorial. When you talk about the sounds, when you talk about even people's backgrounds, where they came from, have you felt any of that in the industry? Do you feel a bit accepted already, considering the artists that you have? How has it been navigating that sort of landscape? Because it could get a bit disrespectful sometimes for certain people.
I guess it's all about how you show yourself as a person. I mean, how you treat the artists, the people. At the end of the day, if you're a genuine person or you're a kind person, I'm sure they're gonna treat you with the same respect as a person. So yeah.
You've said that some Filipinos, they still side-eye Tagalog hip-hop as Baduy.
Yeah.
So, how do you change that mindset?
For me, it's not about highlighting the negative. For me, it's really just about showing them the positive out of what we're doing. Just showing them that whatever we're doing, it's at par with what the West is doing. Like, we have rappers that come here to the Philippines. We had Tyler, the Creator, come here. And people say this thing online. Or people say, like, oh, we should welcome more foreign rappers to the Philippines because there's a market for it. But when they say that, I'm like, okay, sure, but what about the local rappers?
Right.
Are you guys giving them attention? So stuff like that. Like, we can always compete with what's around the world on a global level.
Well, we're seeing now footage from some of the events out there, and the crowds are fantastic. I mean, like, it's no surprise that when it comes to rap and comes to hip hop, there's a bit of a subculture there. There literally have been movies made out of the Philippine hip hop culture. When you take a look at how the positive side of hip hop or Philippine hip hop should be highlighted, what would you say is the things that really stand out to you when you describe Philippine hip hop in a positive light?
It's raw, it's authentic, and it's true to the roots of the artists themselves. So hip hop, especially in the Philippines, is very cultural. It's based on their environment, so it has to be authentic to the core.
Is that a challenge for you? Because, well, I mean, natin, a bit of a privileged background compared to some of the other rappers, other hip-hop artists out there who come from, backgrounds that aren't as privileged. In fact, they rap about it, they talk about it. Is there any difficulty dealing with that sort of artists, or how can you relate to those type of artists, especially those who that you want to sign, that you want to work with, and of course, even if you don't work with them, show the proper appreciation, and hopefully they do the same for you.
Again, I think it goes back to how we treat people in general. It's about treating them with respect, setting boundaries, and at the same time, I'm not gonna be faking the man that I'm coming from a certain background.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's about treating everyone with the right respect and the right kindness. So that's what I've how I've been operating since the very, very beginning, is to be kind and treat everyone with respect.
Yeah.
For the young creatives that are watching us right now, how do you decide when to self-release your music or look for a label? What are the green flags of a label or a recording company, and the red flags that they should watch out for?
Of course, the only time you actually need a label is if you actually need the funding.
Okay.
If you're an independent artist and you're doing okay without any support, you obviously have a bigger piece of the pie.
Okay.
As compared to an artist in a label. But obviously, when you're in a label, you have all these resources at your command.
Right.
So you have all the funds in the world to be able to create music videos, fund your music, fund your recordings, fund your marketing, and all that. That's the only difference. So if you're okay or you're pretty well off as an independent artist, you won't necessarily need the be in a label, because
Yeah.
a lot of artists do it independently, especially in
That is true.
in the Philippines.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
At saka, iba na rin yung technology now eh,
yeah.
diba? You can just easily upload on Spotify, right? So some
YouTube,
artists,
yeah.
yes.
And you're doing well in terms of streams, if I'm not mistaken, for
Yeah,
Cheke.
very well. We've had a lot of songs this year reach the Spotify charts. We have at least 2 songs that are very viral on TikTok.
That's
So,
important.
Yeah, that's very
Yes.
important right now. The landscape of music is very different as compared to before, where people just buy CDs and whatnot. Now we have our own Spotify playlists, editorial playlists that are made by actual human beings, the Spotify editors. Yeah.
Yeah, for the TikTokers out there who want to know, what are those viral sounds? Could you tell us which songs that have gone viral on TikTok?
So we have one. One is Costa Cashman's Fur, and then we have Tugsta,
Okay.
which is still viral now. What's Owen?
What's Owen? Okay, so I will be checking
Yeah.
TikTok if I could go viral soon.
And then we can make a reel out of it.
Kung
diba?
sayaw siya, ikaw
Yung
lang
mga
mag-isa.
trends.
Okay? But
See the support I get here every day from
hindi,
my partner.
kasi I'm learning from it, authenticity. Diba? Being genuine, right? I'm not gonna do something I'm not part of. But, okay.
Speaking about being genuine, if
Yes.
we have viewers right now, creatives, rappers, and they want to approach you, be part of Cheke, what is that sound you're looking for?
Honestly, it's about being unique, because everyone that makes music right now, especially in hip hop, there's a certain theme, there's a certain sound, and it mostly sounds the same. So what
Okay.
stands out the most is obviously something that's different. It depends on genres, sub-genres, I would say. It really depends on what's uso, kung ano yung uso na yun. Depende rin kung, I don't know, because honestly, music comes in trends and waves.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
old sounds from the 90s come back
Yeah.
to now. Like now, very uso na yun yung Y2K sound. So that's
Yes.
early 2000s. So it really comes in waves and trends. So I guess whatever sounds fresh, that's what stands out the most to us.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And of course, you mentioned it a while ago, you talked about the business approach to music. Obviously, you have the background in that with your family, and you also have a bit of the creative side, like you're talking about the artistic requirements. How do you mix the both of them? And did your background helping out with Potato Corner, and of course, any advice from your family, change your perspective, or at least make sure that, okay, mas sustainable to if I do X, Y, or Z?
Not necessarily. I had to learn all of the actual business
Yeah.
practices myself. One of the main reasons why I actually hindi naman run away, but why I decided not to join the family business.
Are they looking for you?
Hindi naman.
He's right here,
He's
okay?
right here, sir.
Yeah, they're
sorry, go
watching.
ahead.
They're watching. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I really didn't like the actual business part of running a business, like the numbers.
Okay,
like
yeah.
Finance and business operations. That's one of the things that I actually didn't like, because that's why I became a creative, because like creatives don't really have to deal with numbers on a day to day. But then, of course, if you own a business that is in the creative industry, you can't escape the numbers, and you have to actually understand those numbers, because paano makikita?
Yeah.
So yun, that's basically why and how I learned the actual part of running a business.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes artists depend on others for the
Yes.
numbers portion.
Yeah.
And now, do they depend on you for the numbers portion of it right now?
Yes, everyone depends on me on that now.
That's the irony of where you are
Pretty
right
much.
now.
Speaking
Yeah.
of learning, you've worked with Careless, as we've mentioned earlier, for 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. What were the key learnings from your years at Careless Music that you were able to use here at Cheke?
A lot of things that I actually learned from Careless, it's really heavily reliant on content. So obviously in Careless, they had stars like James,
Yeah.
Nadine, and all the rest of the roster there. So they would leverage their quote unquote clout
Yeah.
to be able to get business.
Yeah.
So that happens on a day to day in brands, in artistas. So just basically learning the concept of just leveraging
Content.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. But again, Cheke is not even a year old. We cannot wait to see what happens once you hit year 1 and beyond. More music coming up as well. For those who want to check out your artists and of course check out Cheke, where can they do so?
You can find them on Cheke PH on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can find me on LinkedIn also. And you can find Cheke on LinkedIn.
Oh, so business-like naman. Grabe. Kala ko artistic lang yung habol niya.
But it's easy to find,
Oo,
di ba?
easy to
For artists out there.
Natuto niya yan sa Potato Corner. Yung LinkedIn. No, but all joking aside.
Hindi
we really-
maalis yung potato corner,
Oo.
right?
It's in the blood. Like me, like basketball doesn't escape even though I don't play. But yes, one of those things that we can't avoid. But thank you so much for coming on over. Before we let you go, we normally ask one final question that Anne loves asking.
That's right. Our show is called Beautiful Day. So, Justin, what makes your day beautiful?
As long as I get to wake up early, I get to work out and get to start working on my routine, and that's a beautiful day.
Perfect.
Simple as that.
Oh, and like the waking up early part, I'm happy for because he's here, right? That's a fantastic part
Thank you,
about
Justin.
Thank you so much. Thank
Really
you so much.
appreciate it.
So, guys, check out Cheke. Again, that's Cheke record label CEO Justin Wieneke. Now, we are now approaching Christmas.
I know.
It's getting closer.
How many days?
Oh, labas na nga natin. It is 81. No, it's 80 beautiful
80.
days till Christmas.
Wow.
Yung gastos. It's coming.
You know what? May Christmas countdown din kami sa Agenda Weekend. So
I
last
know.
night, we also talked about, ko gastos na naman.
Yes.
I told George, I'm making my list already and checking kung sino pwede kong tanggalin sa list para makatipid.
Why are you telling me this? Are you telling me something?
I know. I'm just saying.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to stay on the good side of Asis-Carilo, make sure
Yes,
you
it
do
all
say hi
depends if
to
you're
her
naughty
on
or
social
nice.
media. Of course, on our YouTube and our Facebook pages. Again, stay on the good side of Ann or else wala kang gift this Christmas season. And that is a wrap on our show this Monday, October 6th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Paolo de Rosario. Remember, keep it cool, take it easy.
And I'm Ann Asis-Carilo. Have a great day ahead and always remember to choose joy and spread love and kindness wherever this day takes you. See you again tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. only here on
Beautiful day! Oh, that's...
Hello,